Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
Last week we had a change of pace with the Wakkerstroom Classic Music Festival and the art exhibition. And this week we're back on track with focusing on those aspects that the mystics through the ages discovered as important elements in the mystical life, and the impact it has in one's daily living, in coping with life. And the next theme that we want to focus on is the whole issue of paradoxes and what an important role paradoxes play within the contemplative life. How often Jesus used paradoxes and Paul used paradoxes. They were quite comfortable with that, and often it's a little bit of a stretch to us or for us.
I think because we're so rational
Yes.
and we want to have it clear-cut, definite, things are opposing, and with paradoxes it seems absurd and it seems like opposites, or that it doesn't even fit together at all. But if you look at it closely, if you live with it, you actually discover, but these two things function together in my life.
Yes. Yes.
And that would be the definition of a paradox, I would say.
Yeah. In terms of things that we won't place within the same sentence, or within the same context, but within the contemplative spirituality. And it's not only limited to contemplative spirituality, actually, in life itself.
Yeah.
We are constantly confronted by, and we come across paradoxes. Those people who we struggle the most or who trigger us, they are our greatest teachers. That's a paradox. The people we would love to avoid are the people we should keep close to learn from them. I mean, that's a paradox.
Yeah, yes, it is. The same as something that really irritates you in somebody is actually you mirroring something of yourself and not liking what you're seeing.
Yes.
So again, something of that.
Yeah, and as we said, Jesus used a lot of that, where he says, those who are last will be first. And he who wants to save his life will lose his life.
Yeah.
A constant, almost a cancelling of things. And Paul saying in 2 Corinthians 12, and when I'm weak, I'm strong.
That is a beautiful example.
That's a beautiful example of a paradox. And you can see how we've decided on what is the track to follow. One has to be strong. One has to try to be first. All of that, that's in the forefront and in the foreground in the way we are living. And then Jesus and Paul comes and they say, but maybe you're so one-sided that you lose sight of the fact that in order to be first, there's an aspect of being lost.
Yeah, and it depends on the context.
Yes.
On what you being first, say, in society, puts you last, maybe in spiritual growth, because your focus is elsewhere. So it all has to do with a certain context. And I think especially in the mystics' lives, more and more they were being confronted with things that previously made perfect sense, that no longer was that way, that they were Yeah, I think of Julian of Norwich being in Anchorage and living in that tiny cell for how many years? 40 years.
Yeah.
And the work that she did from that cell. She was secluded, but she was also writing, and she was, so again, a message going out from her while being absolutely isolated.
Yes. Yes.
Or
Yeah.
Thomas Merton, no, was it Thomas? Yes, Thomas
Yes.
Merton.
Who lived in a hermitage.
Yeah, where they didn't speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the big influence going out from them. And I think what happens in the process is that we discover that paradoxes tell us something about God himself. It's not as easy to box God and say, this is what I know about God. God can be this and that.
And the mystery of God
Yes.
remains a mystery. We can't give a definition for God.
Yeah.
And then the paradox being the creative world, everything
That's so tangible.
so tangible, and that expresses something of God.
Yeah.
So that is also a beautiful paradox.
Yeah. Within this whole context of paradoxes, I think a very important word is the word and.
Yeah, yeah,
You can be last and first.
yeah,
You can be dying and becoming alive.
yeah, yeah,
You can be weak and strong.
yeah.
So the word and, it's not, we often work with exclusion. It's either or. It's either this or that. But with paradox, it's and.
Well, it's actually both and.
Yes.
Yeah, like Richard Rohr says.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And like Matilda and I, often when we're in a situation and we have a conversation with somebody, and we would say, you know what, you're in a good, bad place. Where it's a difficult place, it's a bad place. But it also has all the potential to bring out so much more. And it's almost like a gateway, being a good, bad place. So constantly in our own lives, we are, all of us, we come in contact with paradox, and it enriches our lives. And the main thing is to become comfortable with that.
And to be open to that.
Yeah.
We are very scared of acknowledging even to ourselves that things can be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you once again. Good to be in conversation again. Not as if we weren't, but in this manner. But may you have a wonderful week. Talk again next week.
Keep well, everyone.
Bye-bye.